Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our session, Learn More About the Future of Microsoft PPM. My name is Joanne Wong, and I am the Product Marketing Manager for Project. I'm here with my colleagues, Robert Pedersen and Gaurav Wasson, and they'll introduce themselves a little bit later in our presentation. Okay, great. And so for today, I want to go over where we are currently with project management and where we're headed. And then I'll give an overview of Microsoft PPM, mainly because we're still receiving a lot of questions about PPM, project, when to use it and where, and how. So I'll give you a brief overview, and then we'll segue into the demo and the updates that we've recently released. Okay, so modern project management. So everything is a project. In the sense that, if I am a store manager and I want to remodel my store, I could come up with a lot of different tasks. For example, I need to upgrade my payment system, and that's causing a lot of long lines, and so I need to add more cashiers in there, and then I also need to change the flooring. So each of these tasks make up a larger project, and in such, there's a lot of complexity involved, a lot of resources, budget, and so all of these roll up to a project that is fairly complex. And everyone is involved in the project management process, irrespective of whether or not you're a project manager or your CEO who's interested in the reporting or the dashboards of your portfolio of projects. Everyone is involved. And this is actually very pertinent to a lot of the organizations right now because there are a lot of cross-functional teams. And as such, there are a lot of folks who are working in seemingly very disparate teams. They're coming together to work on a project. And so everyone should be involved in the project management process. And when we're looking at all the different teams out there, we have come up with 4 main buckets of teams. And the first one is individuals. So when we're looking at individuals, we consider them as part of the task management, in the sense that they own their own tasks and they have a priority list of tasks that are based on importance. And they're also looking at taking notes and also putting in their completion times. The second area is ad hoc teams. So in terms of work management, these are folks who are assembling into high-performing teams, and they have a goal to deliver a project. The third area is formal teams. And so when we're thinking about project management, these are folks who want to gain visibility into their entire project activities. So when you're looking at scope, budget, cost, all of that, you want to be able to manage that. And lastly, enterprise teams. So for portfolio management, these are, again, like more senior leaders who have to manage across a number of projects. And they want to see high level, where are we right now in terms of the scope and the budget. They're able to see that in their dashboarding. And so what does this mean in terms of tactical execution for project managers? So as you can see here, as the team sizes increase, and so does the level of coordination. And as such, there's a ton of different types of activities that you, as a project manager, would have to seek out. And so then you'll have to look at other types of resources and tools. And so you can see here there's a whole set of different types of advanced analytics and other activities that you should be considering when you're looking at purchasing a project management tool. So Microsoft PPM. So who here is familiar with PPM? I see a couple hands here, which is great. So it's the right. So it's a great crowd. Who here can define for me what PPM stands for? Fantastic, fantastic. So you get a prize. And so we'll have a lot of these Q&As, and so if you can answer any of our questions, you'll receive a prize for today. So that's fantastic. So PPM, as you mentioned, is project and portfolio management. At Microsoft, it is a cloud offering. And so it provides a comprehensive solution for project, program, portfolio, and resource management in the cloud. And here you can see the full capabilities of Office 365. And I want to draw your attention to this slice of the O365 pie, and that's projects and diagramming. So as I had mentioned before, in a lot of organizations, projects are not run in isolation. And as such, we really rely on the full set of O365 capabilities. And so we built in a lot of the capabilities to support interoperability, meaning that we have a lot of project data, but we also want to marry that with data from other business systems. So this chart resembles all the different, the 4 different categories of teams that we mentioned before. And here you'll see our Microsoft offerings by each category. So you'll see for individuals, for task management, we have Outlook, OneNote, and Wunderlist. For ad hoc teams, and that's work management, we have SharePoint, OneDrive, and Planner. For project management, for formal teams, we have Project Professional, both the desktop and the online version. And for portfolio management, we have the Enterprise, the Server, or the CAL, and 3 different SKUs for Project Online. So being PPM, we have Premium, Professional, and Essentials, and those are really tailored to the different personas or the key responsibilities of the team member. So let's talk a little bit more about the usage scenarios for Microsoft PPM. So we touched upon project management. So those are project managers who are creating those meaningful reports about project activity. And then the second scenario is resource management. And so we want to have resource managers able to look at resource utilization and be able to come up with those reports. The third is portfolio management. And so those are for business leaders who are aligning their business strategy with their project and portfolio investment. And the fourth one is project collaboration. And this one is the most important, it's key. And again, it's built on top of the Office 365 infrastructure, and so that we have the ability to contact our teammates and communicate better. So that is the key to project success.
What's the number one product for collaboration?
Is there anyone? Oops. So next I want to make a distinction between the desktop app and PPM, which is in the cloud. So for desktop, where you purchase a license, either professional or standard, it truly is a product where you can use on your own, versus PPM, where it is more of a team and organization play, in the sense that you're able to collaborate. Every time a project manager enters something in the cloud, it becomes instantly available to all of the other team members. And so in that sense, it's a very interconnected tool. And as I mentioned, because PPM is built on top of O365, we get to leverage the underlying infrastructure and the application platform. So I want to give an overview of the timeline and as to how project has progressed over the years. And so as you can see, over the past decade, it used to be the case that we would release a new product every 2 to 3 years. And so we call these big bang releases, where you would receive all of the new features all at once. With the advent of the cloud, however, like over the past couple of years, we've been able to come up with more frequent and incremental updates for our customers. And so this is great because we're able to incorporate customer feedback quickly, and we're able to maintain the value delivery for our customer. And so next I want to segue into a video. We're going to roll a video, and then we'll go directly to a demo where you can see the product live.
So that gives you a little bit of an idea. Thank you. Gives you a little bit of idea where the direction is going. Not only the marketplace, but also from Microsoft's perspective. And so what we'll show you next is the demonstration of what Project Online is. Anyone familiar with Project Online? Yep. Anybody currently using it or have used the project server? Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll talk a little bit of a demo about what Project Online is, and we'll go into some of the features and functions. And then we'll have a second demo after that to kind of talk about what has been released, what are the new functionalities that has been released, say, in the last 6 months or so. All the aspects of the mobile apps and the ability to access information using different devices, something that video kind of demonstrated a little bit. So here, within our demo environment, we've logged in to our Office 365 environment. And here's our Office 365 landing page. You can see that project is one of the tiles within the Office 365 suite. And when we go into project, we'll see that it interrelates with the different Office 365 components, such as Mail, SharePoint, Skype, and Power BI, Word, OneDrive. So it's a whole ecosystem of Office 365 together, and Project is part of that. So if we click on Project, we'll see, after I've logged into Office 365, you'll know this is the landing page, the web application associated with Project Online. Top right tells me who I am. PMA, I'm the administrator. So as Joanne talked about the different licensing flavors for the different types of users, whether you're a team member, whether you're a project manager, whether you are a portfolio manager or a resource manager, there's different levels of licensing, different levels of access. And the system is from the Office 365 login and knows who I am and what I can do. You look at the home page, and it's very SharePoint-like, because in fact it is. Project Online is built on SharePoint. So not only does it have all of the robust project management capabilities associated with Microsoft Project Online, but it has also all of the SharePoint capability as well. The ability to create lists or customize web pages or to build in workflows throughout the whole system. Underlying each project, as when Gaurav demonstrates, we can see that each project can have its own SharePoint team site where the team can go to manage documents, manage risks, issues, all the collateral components associated with managing your projects. Clicking on the Project Center, as Gaurav has done, if we scroll up a bit, we can see that when he clicked on the Project Center, we're seeing a dashboard view. Here's a dashboard view of all the projects that are in the system that I have rights to view and or edit. So using the web browser, I can click on a project and I can view the information, I can edit the information. In fact, I can not only just edit the project metadata, but I can actually edit the schedule, changing the tasks, assigning resources to the tasks. If I go up to the ribbon, you can see that when I click the New button, the drop down, you can see that I can start a new project within the web application or within the more familiar Microsoft Project Desktop client. So if I started an enterprise or not, because one of the other components of Project Online is that familiar Microsoft Project Desktop. And you can see as Gaurav will log in, using the Microsoft Project Desktop application, which is now also cloud enabled, I can go and open projects up from the cloud environment. So now if I click on File, and I go Open, and you can see that when I select, I can select to all the different projects that download from the my Microsoft cloud environment, and I can continue to edit it, update projects using this familiar tool, saving it back to the cloud.
So either if you're here or on the cloud, it's exactly the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing because it's a single entity. When we talk about projects, we talk about resources, we think about it in terms of single entity. So no matter where I am within the application, when I'm viewing that project, editing the project, viewing a resource, editing a resource, it's one entity across the entire enterprise. Yes, question? Exactly. Yeah, and so if Gaurav scrolls up, you'll see that as we look through the navigation links on the left, that you can see that there, I'm sorry, the question was, is there a way to integrate timesheets so that users can update tasks associated with the project? And what we can see is that, yes, there's a timesheet functionality. So that as I build my project, I create my tasks, I assign those tasks to the users. When I publish and save that information, part of the integration with Office 365, that user can get an email notification that they've been assigned a task. They can then come as a team member to this Project Online and then click on the timesheet or the task page and update that same entity. It's not a copy, It's the same entity that they were assigned. So if they had tasks that are assigned from projects, they can either complete it using a timesheet or update it using a more generalized task page, entering hours by day, or they could update the task using a % complete methodology. When they send their timesheet, that's going to go directly to the project manager, and they will be able to use the web application to approve or reject those updates. The approval then will update your work schedule to say, now that task is 50% done, 100% done. Okay? So we looked at the project center, the place where all the projects are located, multiple different views you can associate here to look at your projects by program, by status, by project owner, by department of owning it. If we look in and select the resources link on the left side, we see also that there's a single location where we define all our users. These can be named users, John Smith, Jane Doe, who access the system. They can be named users that are external to the organization. They can be generic resources, cost resources, material resources. Single place where you define all your resources. And again, because it's one data source, all assignments for the resources then can be aggregated so that now you can view resources and see, compared to their total capacity, how much capacity for work do they have? What are they assigned to? Are they over allocated? Do they have time to do additional work? And so we can see that graphically, and we can also, if you scroll down, we can see that, if you scroll down, you can see that in a tabular form as well. And so the system is one of the benefits of having it all in one place, single source for everything. You can then do resource management. What are your people working on? Do they have, coming up in 2 months, do they have ability to do additional project work? As also we look down on the navigation link, you can see that as a truly enterprise system, we have the ability to view issues and risks. We can do strategy, portfolio analysis capabilities, to go in and analyze our portfolio to see from a prioritization perspective, which are the best projects to do, which are the projects we can do with our given resource capacity. And then we have a full reporting suite that we'll get into in the next demonstration.
Sure. So I'm going to take over a little bit on the portfolio management as Bob was talking about. So when you create number of projects, you create like a high-level demand for resources. You say, hey, I need a project manager for 3 months, 20% of the time, or I need a developer for this project for X% of the time. And all this data goes in for portfolio management, which we take all the projects, go through like a simple workflow, and it comes for a portfolio management. So I'm going to select one of the portfolio that I've already created just to go over that. So once you're in the portfolio management portion, it gives you a list of options. I clicked on it. And says, hey, what my business drivers are, which projects I'm selecting. So I'm going to take about like 30 odd projects that I brought into the system. And we're creating a portfolio for 30 projects. So from this projects, we're going to take a look at it and see if we have to do this many projects, do we have the budget to do this project? Do we have the resources to do this project or not? So these are about 30 projects in different stages. Sometimes you take projects that are like brand new. Sometimes you take projects that's been going on for about a year or so. You want to take a look at it and see like, hey, do I want to kill this project? Do I want to do this project? Does it make sense? Or is there any other project that gives me a better value for the system? So I selected the projects. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go prioritize project. And for each of the projects, when we created them, we do have an option to define, hey, is this project going to be increasing my profit margin? And I can, if I want, I can change that, and I say it's a low, medium, high. So this is the way called pairwise analysis. So we're scoring projects against each other. So once all the projects are scored, what it's going to do is going to give me a priority for those projects. And it's a normalization, so it takes about 30 projects and comes and tells me like, hey, the e-commerce project development, this is the one that has the highest priority based. If I have $100 to spend, the best $7 that's been spent is on this project. So we continue with this. Like, these are all 30 projects we have, and there are a couple of projects you'll see that are 0%, like CFO campaign. So it could be multiple reasons for that. Like, first, they did not input any priorities for that. So there's no scoring for that, it's 0 scoring. Or they might be like projects that we have to do. It's a compliance project. So we go next. So at this stage, if I go to the baseline, it tells me that, hey, to get these projects done, there are 30 projects. And to do all these projects is going to cost me about $22 million to do this project. So I'm doing a what-if analysis at this point, and I say, like, I don't have 30 million as a budget for me this year. So I can go change it to 15 million. So I'm just going to change this number to 15. And I will do a recalculate. So based on this, the prioritization and the budgets and all the other information that we have captured is going to come back and say, for the 15 million, you can only do the 23 projects out of the 30 projects. So 7 projects are not available for this time because we don't have the cost to do these projects. So it takes away the projects and pushes the projects out, which I can go in again and say, like, hey, we have the payroll upgrade that's being required per compliance, so we need to check in this project. So I can go force in this project, and I can just do a recalculate again. So what that will do, so I'm doing a what-if analysis for the portfolio optimization. So we have a portfolio selected, now we are optimizing the portfolio. So come here, it will take that project in, and it forces out another project. Oh, I forced it out, sorry. Force in. And I can force in and force out project. I can also set up dependencies between 2 projects. So if we are doing a collaboration and we want to select 2 different projects, one for SharePoint, one for another collaboration tool, if one gets selected, the other can get automatically rejected from that. So once I go in, I see that project is moved in. And doing so, it moved out another project right here. And what we can do too, and say, like, hey, this is a health assessment tool. We already purchased Power BI, and we capturing that for another project, and we estimated the same for this project. And I can say, like, now it doesn't look like I'm going to spend $1 million on this one. So I can say, now this project is going to be about 200,000 because we already purchased the license. So I can do that. I can, again, go back and do a recalculate. So doing so, it's going to take the cost for the project went down, the priority of the project was higher, so it's going to move that project in. And we can do this. This is like all what-if analysis. It's not changing anything in the project manager's project schedule or anything like that. We have this information, that project is moved in, and now we can still do 23 projects. Some other project was moved out. So we can do like high-value projects. Our goal, if you look at this scatter chart, is to like show high-value projects that are low cost for us. So this quadrant is the one we want to focus on, high-value projects with low cost. And these are the one we want to avoid, like low-value project with higher cost. So the next question is, we got these projects, we got about 87% of our strategic value, we have 15 million, and we do 23 projects. Do we have the resources to do this project? So I'm going to do a save as first. And I'm going to go next and analyze resources. So you see we have 23 projects that were selected before. So at this stage when we come back, it's going to come back and say, hey, you can only do 18 projects because you don't have the resources to do the project. At this point, I can go take a look at the deficit, or I can actually go here and say, hey, what if I hired 3 resources? And again, this is all what if. I can start with 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start with 3 and see what's going to happen. So I go for 3, and we had like 18 projects out of 23. So it's going to come back and say, you can do 20 projects if you hire 3 resources. The next question is which 3 resources I need to hire. So I can go to reports and see hire resources. It's going to come and tell me, hey, I need a trainer for these projects from this time frame. So this looks old because the demo environment, it's old data, but it tells me I need to hire resources from the old to the end of the project. If I go back. The other option I can do too is I can see the projects are going on. I can say, what if I put the project as a new start date? So I'm going to scroll down and take a look at the projects that got rejected. And I'll say, what if I change the start date to April 2016? So as soon as I do that, it moved the project in. So based on the resources demand, we didn't have the resources to do the project. Once we get that, we can add in another project, and we can do 21 projects instead of 18 projects. So that gives the option for us, like for portfolio management. And once we do that, we approve it, project manager gets the message, your project has been approved, and they can start working on it.
So it helps you do 3 or more basic questions, right? Mm-hmm. You answers the questions of prioritization, right? What are the higher priority projects?
We can do optimization. So we got the higher priority projects, we did the prioritization, project selection, and we went through and changed some information, like which, if this project comes in, this project goes out, we were able to optimize our portfolio through this.
Right, and then we have the constraint analysis, because we only have so much money. We only are given so much budget. So what are the best projects? And then third, what can we do with existing resources? Do we need to hire, or can we defer a project or start a project early?
Mm-hmm. And all the look and feel that you see in the system is very SharePoint, similar to SharePoint. You have the views, you can go change the views. So like Bob said before, we can go some out-of-the-box views, we can change. Most of the things that you see in this environment is out of the box. And anything that you see the indicators, it's all configuration. So you can make indicators and say like, hey, my project is getting late. Is my project on time? So I can go look at this view, and I see this project. I can go inside the details of the project and see the schedule information right here. So this is the project workflow. I can go inside the project schedule. I can see project details. I can go to the project SharePoint site.
For this specific project?
For this specific project. So when I go to the SharePoint site, it gives me the information that this is the summary of the project. There are about 86 tasks that are being late, and I can see the details. This site has the landing page too, and I can go look at the document library. So any document that's related to the project. So all the artifacts related to project is stored in this site. The task schedule. So what this does, it shows the schedule within the task, a little bit of a more friendly way for the team members so they can come and take a look at it. Usually, a team member usually sees the project which they have been working on, the task they've been working on, in case they want to see which other task is linked to it, how I'm reaching this task, they can come here and take a look at it. They can also see like a high-level schedule, which phase we are in, and what tasks are upcoming now. They do have views. They can see what's completed, what's upcoming. They can actually have a calendar view, take a look at it. They can go and say, which is my task, what's upcoming, which are the late tasks across the project, so they can plan accordingly. As a project manager, I can put in like risk and issues. And once I put a risk and issue, I do have an option to connect a risk to an issue or to a document or to a task within the schedule. So that way, like if someone is looking for a risk or issue, they can see this is the document attached, this is what I need to do, and how do I mitigate that? And so, that's, again, out of the box.
And so as we talked about before, the different components, this is then the SharePoint collaborative capabilities for each project. This is a place where your team can go and work with the different components, whether it's document management, whether it's OneNote through the notebook function, whether it's ability to interact with OneDrive for your documents, wiki pages, all the capabilities that SharePoint have we can apply it to the execution of our project within our project team site.
And from here, it's very easy to navigate back to projects. You can go to project details. We'll take you back to the project environment, and you can see other information regarding the projects right from here. And as a team member, if you want to go to task page, this also gives you the information of all the tasks they're working on. And it gives you the information, what's completed, what's upcoming, and they can go in and update the information that, hey, my task is going to start late, or my task is going to start on time.
Yeah, here you have, like similar to the timesheet, this is a single web page that every person can go to see what are all my tasks for all my projects.
What they've been assigned to, what they've been working on. Any questions? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, the question is, do we have a comprehensive view of all the projects that are in a particular portfolio? Yes, you can. You can use the project center view where you have the details, and you can bring the portfolio option right here and do sorted by portfolio, or group it by portfolio. Or the other option is use the reports. So we're going to go into the reports pretty soon. So
let's go right now. Yeah, that's a good.
So out of the box, there are reports that comes in for the environment, and call it like executive dashboards, and that's only available on Project Online. And once you go in, you can see the overview of all the projects. It's refreshing. Mm-hmm.
This is real time, so it's mm-hmm. refreshing the data with any of recent changes.
That's connecting.
There we go. Your environment is a little slow in here.
Mm-hmm. Let me jump into the Power BI first.
Okay.
Or the other option is you can use the Power BI. So let me jump into that, and I'll be back to this one. So on Power BI, you can publish the projects. There is already a connector for Project Power BI. So once you go in, and if you go to the services, there is a connector available for Project Online. So if I go search for Project Online, you'll see Microsoft Project Online. So it's a Power BI connector that already comes in. It connects to the data sources for Project Online. You don't need to create your own data sources, data connection. It pulls in all the data that you needed for Project Online. And once you have this data, you can go in and create reports. So I'm going to go back to the reports. And you can do like a dashboard if you want to see. You can see a list of all the projects right here. It's all linked. You can see the overdue task. You can see cumulative work. You can see risk issues. And if you want to drill down into that, you just double click on this. And it takes you the details right there. So these are the risks. The 4 active risk open, and you can click on it. You can see more details. If you go scroll down a little bit.
Which one is clicking on?
And if you want to see more reports, you can go in, and we have like some cost work analysis. And this gives a detail like, hey, how much this project is going to cost me. So I can change the project information, and that changes right there. Go for another project, I can see the details right there. If I want to see the governance, I can take a look at that and see, and that this governance is the one that's very helpful for the portfolio management. And I can see how many projects are in planning gate. So I click on that, and all the data gets updated. And it says like, for planning project, these are the projects that are in your portfolio, and that's the resource requirement that you have for those. I can do some stage analysis right there and see which stages my projects are in. These are all my IT projects, and I can take a look at it. These are all my CRM projects within IT. So very dynamically, I can go take a look at the information. I can change it. These are my compliance projects. These are my corporate projects. I can see the ROI for those projects. I can see the prioritization for those projects. And I can, if you want to take a look at the Gantt view, you have views that you can see like this for different projects.
I'll grab the first one, yeah. But looking at things from a portfolio perspective, you can certainly create tabular reports for showing, you list your portfolio projects grouped by either portfolio or by program with health indicators. You can look at this graphically if you want to look at it from there.
Yeah,
you can
sure.
see this is color-coded by program. Just a kind of examples of information that you can get. Geographically, you can then look at information to see what countries are and be able to use the power of Power BI to drill down into different localities. Those are just examples.
So you can also create reports like these where you have like, this is another portfolio report. It tells me there are 42 projects, that's the total funding, how much money has been spent, what's available, what's our ESE. You can also take a look at these and say like, hey, I want to see all the projects for Robin. And it changes accordingly on that. It gives you what type of projects which department are doing, what's the percentage allocation on these. I can also go and see, show me all the projects that are in construction phase. And it changes all the information right on the fly. So everything is connected. As you go through, you make changes, your data changes accordingly.
Let's see if the dashboard is up. You have a problem with the dashboard, trying to click in there again. There we go. Perfect. Now this is the out-of-the-box dashboard that Microsoft provides with Project Online. And so this is something you usually install from the App Store with the ability to then filter on any of the fields that you have defined. So here by default is showing you top projects with work in the past, resources, an issue. Here it's showing you your projects, showing the indicators for key performance indicators, such as schedule, work, cost. So if you can see that if a project was, say, behind schedule or over the work estimate or over cost, over budget, you can then view that information. As you drill into it, you can see now for project by project relative to your portfolio that you've selected, what are the slipping tasks? What are the tasks that have cost overruns or work overruns or missed deadlines or have work in the past that are stale? So it gives you the ability to then look at your data with a very intuitive tool that you can then navigate into to view information, to view potential issues, and then drill in to determine what's going on with those projects. Why is a project slipping? Well, because of these tasks. You also have the ability then to generate executive summaries. So here we see for this given project, a one-pager executive summary giving the basic highlights of the project with the status of the current milestone status and status for active project issues. And then the ability then to select the details, again, relative to that project for the different tasks and showing the different status for the tasks. Looking at your finish, your cost, your work, variance indicators for the project health. In this manner, you can determine which are the tasks that are driving your project to be late or to be over budget. Which are the tasks that you need to address.
Resource one. And this also shows you like which resources are the one that are like top resources with risk and issues. You can see all the detailed information about that. So any project, and it's very easy, like if you need to add some widgets or if we need to make some changes, you do have an option to go change some of these information. You can add another years, you can change filters. So it gives you a lot of options, and this is all out of the box. Go back to the slide.
Yeah. Okay, so the next section we want to talk about is the recent enhancements that Microsoft has made. As we talked about before, we're in a process of continual update. Nowadays, we can push them out on a very regular basis, given that it's all cloud-focused now. So what we'll see as Microsoft moves forward in the futures is that the pace of enhancements will proceed and will accelerate. Also, when we talk about enhancements, we'll talk a little bit about a lot of these enhancements are being driven by you, the customers. There is a place within Project Online where you can actually vote and say that you want to see these enhancements made to the system. What we'll talk about now are some of the investment themes that have been recently talked about. Out-of-the-box reports, we just demonstrated the dashboards and some of the Power BI capabilities. Native apps across devices. There's a lot of mobile apps now that are available for Project Online and other Office 365 components, whether you're using a Microsoft Android or iPhone. PPM platform integration platforms, and again, the continuous feedback loop. So what we've seen recently? So some of the releases have been resource engagements. So now there's capabilities so that a project manager using the project client can request resources from a resource manager. So it's more of a formalized process where they can request, I need a developer, or I need a specific developer. And using the web application, Project Online web application, the resource manager can then see all those requests. They can get notifications, email notifications that says that there's been a new request for John Smith, their developer. And they can then respond using the tool to the project manager saying, yes, John Smith is available and he can work on your project. Or he can say, John Smith is not available, because he can look in the information and he can see that John Smith is booked, but Jane Doe is free. And so he can say, Jane is available, you can have Jane. And it's using the technology to handle and manage that process, that communication.
Yeah, it does add a lot of communication between project manager and resource manager, and especially this functionality is very useful when you're managing a critical resource, and you want to make sure that you don't have too many of those resources, and you want to capture the information. And what this also does is, once the resource engagement is approved, your project manager is bound to use the resource at that level. And if they're not using, if they're trying to use it for more level, they get notification saying that, hey, you only asked for 20% of Bob, and now you're trying to use 30% of Bob. And it goes through the range you asked for it. So if it's like a 3-month time frame, you ask 20%. A little bit more than a little bit up or down is okay. But if you goes over 30% in next 3 months, it will give you information and error messages that you need to take a look at it and change accordingly.
We talked a little bit about the portfolio dashboard. And so this is the initial dashboard that'll come out. There's ability to customize it. As Gaurav talked about, the ability to add in your additional filter parameters, create your own dashboards. We also was released as a companion app. So this is a mobile app for that same dashboard that you can access using an iPad or another tablet device.
So another price question. Does anyone know how many apps does Microsoft has in Apple Store? How many?
Anybody else?
Anybody else? We need the closest number. We need to go up. We need to go up. Microsoft has 95 apps on.
100 there.
Yeah, so the 95 apps, a lot of them are productivity app, even Xbox. And that 95 apps on iOS store for iPhone, and they have 65 apps for iPad itself. So who said number 100?
Over here. So, next slide.
The content pack.
Oh, yes, so this, as we talked about, again, this is the content pack. So, starter pack, Power BI reports for Project Online. And so this was the first content pack that has been developed. As we'll see in a couple slides, there is also then the ability for developers or others to upload and create additional Power BI content for the community as well. We'll get to that in a second. But so this is something that is the initial content pack. We demonstrated some additional Power BI reports, but it's from a community perspective, it's going to be growing as well. Go next. And there we have then a location where we can access it. Time reporting or task updating. So from your phone, you can then be able to access all the tasks you've been assigned. And you'll be able to not only view the tasks and the information relative to the tasks, but you'll be able to update them using your phone. So if you're out in the field, or you might be in a construction or some industry where everybody's not tethered to a laptop or whatever. So now we have mobile apps that allow people to view the tasks that are updated for the specific projects that they're working on, and then to update the tasks, either using a timesheet, the classic timesheet to put in hours by day, or if you're using percent complete progressing, to access your current task and say, I'm 50% done, I'm 100% done. Seamlessly then submitted to the system, your project manager will receive those updates and be able to process those updates against their projects. Flow. Anybody hear about Flow? Okay.
How many of here are lazy? So I'm one of the lazy guy. Like I don't want to sign into Office 365, go in and do the updates. So with Flow, what you can do is as you go through workflow, a project needs to be approved or rejected. You can actually use Flow and connect it and make it in seamless way in such a way that the email that comes in, it can read the email, and you can, on the email, you can say reply and say approved. What that will do, it will take the data, it says approved right there, take the information, approves the workflow, and sends the message to the team member that, hey, your project is approved. So a lot of time when you're traveling, either you're on the plane, you're not able to connect, you have the email, you can go through and say approve, 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 and send it back. Once you get connected, it will approve the project, sends the message to the user that your project is approved. So using Flow, you can connect one environment to another. You can connect Wunderlist. If you know what Wunderlist is, anyone? Using Wunderlist? So what Wunderlist can do is you can take the project, publish it, and connect with using Flow connected to Wunderlist. So all your tasks can come to Wunderlist. So it's gonna work as your checklist. Once you go complete the task and say my task is complete in Wunderlist, it connects back to Flow, sends the data back to project, where project manager can take a look at it and approve it. So you do have like a lot of integration functionalities that you can do really easily and
very
quickly.
easily. And then, and to that end, there's a number of templates that are provided out of the box, and there's the capability to create your own templates. So here we can see, templates that say, when a new project's created, maybe send an email. When a new project is created, create entry in a SharePoint list site, in a site. So there's a lot of different applications, and it's growing all the time. Powerups. Anybody use Powerups? No? Okay, so you can create apps, whether it's for tablets, phones, etc. How does that relate to project management?
Mm-hmm.
Good example. Rob, we were talking about this earlier.
Email.
Emails, right? But conceptually, you could have a list of projects that need approval, right, from a workflow perspective that we talked about. So you can create an app that for those users that are the approvers, who then can use a phone or a tablet just to process and participate in that workflow to either approve or reject workflow items relative to the projects. External user support. Project Online is going to be following the same standards that SharePoint has for access for external users. So allowing external users who accept sharing invitations, or ability to allow sharing of it to all external users using anonymous access, in addition to granting them access through licenses. So, and then timelines. Timelines have been out for a while, for those of you who use Project Online. But some of the enhancements that are being released are the ability to see the progress within the timeline. So it's going to show you that the phase that you're showing there is 100% done or 50% done. Also, there'll be accessibility enhancements, extensibility enhancements from a technical developer's point of view, so they'll be able to grab and utilize this information and
show it on the apps or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Team tasks and multi-assignments. Mm-hmm. Team tasks, I always thought was a great concept. So you could assign, as a project manager, you assign a task to a team, right? Developers, web developers. You don't know who's going to be on doing the task. You just know the web developer team is going to be doing the task. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is a new feature. Means this feature used to be there before, but what used to happen? Yeah, so what used to happen is once one team member goes in and takes a project, it used to go away from the team. So now when you assign this, multiple people can come in and take it, so instead of being assigned to just one.
The whole concept is the ability to assign yourself to that team task.
And that's again, if you see on the right-hand side, that's one of the user community thing. So people requested that, and Microsoft heard, and once they took it, and that's what the voice is about. So if you go to the pwavoice.microsoft.com and put your information in and say like, hey, this is the feature we are looking for, people vote for it. And based on the voting, Microsoft takes those features and makes the updates to the system. And that's the beauty of being on cloud.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we got a couple more. The developer community updates, new site for those developers. I think if you click it once more, it's going to give the URL address.
Mm-hmm. It's right there.
But it's where you'll be able to access or upload code samples, right? CSOM, add-ins, documentation. So now we have a central location where you can access all of the developer technical information relative to Project Online, instead of search, as in the past where you had to search around and find things. So we have a central location for the developers. And then I just wanted to end with this, was the presence information. And this has been around for a while, but this is something that is being improved upon, and such that whether you're within the web application or within the project client, there's the Office 365 presence information, so that when you hover over a particular user, for example, a user that is assigned to the task, or if a user's in a timesheet and they can hover over the status manager of who they're sending the time update to, and you can then see the presence information to be able to send them an IM, or to be able to place a Skype call, or to do a Skype video call, or to begin a mail right from the application. As things move forward in time with where project is going, we'll be able to then store all this information and retrieve it subsequently. And so that kind of just adds to the collaborative capabilities that this system has and is continually improving upon. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the conversation that's on the roadmap, yes.
That, Joanne, you want to cover that one?
Yeah.
It's a sensitive subject right now.
So I'm going to quickly show some of these apps that we were just talking about on a mobile device. Just a second, I'm going to connect.
You connected? Oh. Sure.
So, no, I understand like Microsoft Office 365 is not for product,
Mm-hmm.
Teams and also Microsoft Online now. Is there any integration on all those products? So let's say if someone is using Microsoft Planner to manage a project, we want to include them in a portfolio management, for example. Is there option?
It's not. The question was like, is Planner connected to Project Online? It's not right now. It's not connected, but you can again use Flow and create your own information to move from one place to another.
It is a roadmap item, but again, we can't talk about it.
So this is, I'm connected through my iPad, and I can see the same dashboards that I was seeing before. And it's again touch friendly. I can go take a look at it. I can take a look at the project, click on the name of the project. It opens up the details about that project. The same information that I was seeing on the web, it's there as an app. And I can go look at the cost overruns, work overruns, missed deadlines, work in past, issues, risk. So all the information, I can take a look at it right from the app, like very easy, very quickly. And I can go take a look at the resource information, task information. So the look and feel is exactly the same what you were seeing on the web portion of the project. So that's for the dashboard. Same thing you can do using Power BI. So once you're connected, I'm going to go cancel. The same reports I was showing you before on Project Online using the Power BI, I can see the same reports right here. So I can see the Gantt chart, and it's available through Power BI on the apps. The same views, I can take a look at the portfolio views that we were looking at before. You can look at the project Gantt charts. So all the information that I was seeing before, it's available on the Power BI app on iPad.
With all the same interactivity.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to move the device.
Work on the iPad. There we go.
There you go.
Look at those lovely kids.
Yeah, those are my kids. So what I have here, I have a productivity group that I've created, and I have all my Microsoft apps and the productivity apps right here. So they can again connect from one to another. I can go into Power BI, same like before, or I can go to the Task Time Reporter app, which opens up my timesheet. So anything that I entered over there on project, it shows up right here. So I entered this information like for 8 hours. I can go here and update it and say I have to work on weekends. So I enter 4 hours for the administrative conference call. So I can enter the information. Once I'm there, I can save it, send the information, or save it to my manager or the project manager for updates. I can go to the Power BI app, and I can go to Microsoft Project. and I can see the information. If I want to take a deeper information to that, I can change the view. I do have an option to, might have to hold it. So I do have an option to go here and I can make change and say, hey, why is this high? I can go share. It opens up the email. And it takes a picture of what I did. So I can make changes right here and say, hey, why is this really high? Send it. So I'm on the go. Like I can take a look at it, make updates to my reports, take a look at my projects. It's at real time. So even if I'm not connected, if I'm connected to internet, I can just take a look at it. I don't need to be in my environment in my office to do all this information. So it's like all mobile, it's user friendly. I can make changes, send it to my manager and say, hey, why is this happening?
And so let's go back to your phone and show the other apps, and just kind of talking about the other apps too. You can see that OneNote, right? It's also going to show you the OneNotes associated with your project team sites. OneDrive, it'll also show your project documents that are stored within those same project team sites associated with Project Online. SharePoint, if you went to SharePoint, you'd be able to navigate again to those Project Online project team sites. So the data is all together. So again, the SharePoint example, you might have other SharePoint sites, you've got project SharePoint sites, but it's all kind of together and accessible to you using these mobile applications. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Mm-hmm. So, mhm. So the question is, like, can we have like different governance for different regions or different areas? I mean, sometimes IT has different governance, sometimes HR has different governance. So you do have an option to set up multiple different governance workflows. And when you looked at the first information, when I was creating a project, I went on new and create projects. I can use different project templates, and I can use a different workflow, different governance on that. And a lot of time, this common scenario we also get in is like, hey, my project is much bigger project. It's a compliance project. It needs to go through more rigorous governance. And then there are some smaller project that needs to go with a smaller governance.
But it might be part of the same effort, though.
Might be part of the same effort. So you can change the project and change the type of project, use a different workflow portion in that, and do a different governance. So you can, like, if you want, maybe have clients, you have different governance for different regions.
And then using one of the reporting tools, like example of Power BI, or even the out-of-the-box dashboard, or even using Excel services to do your reporting, you can then combine those two projects within a given report to show the overall progress of what you refer to as a program, right? Also, using the tool itself, you could combine both of those projects into a master project. Conceptually, somebody might be the program manager who would be responsible for running the overall program, of which those two projects might be part of. They could use a master project to kind of govern the overall effort.
Any other questions? So to get connected with project means, again, we are pretty social. If you go to my Facebook, it's Microsoft Project. On Twitter, it's @project. And for LinkedIn, it's Microsoft Project Professional Network. So you can use that information and provide the feedback. If, again, as we talked about it, the user voice, it's microsoftproject.uservoice.com. And you can put user voice and say, like, hey, can we add these features to project? And to join the tech community, you can go to techcommunity.microsoft.com and join the tech community and collaborate and share your user experiences. Yes, sir.
Performance. What's the top end performance that would go to you like in Project Server 2010?
Mm-hmm.
Fridays when everyone's hitting their time sheets, you don't want to be updating your project. So what has evolved with Project Online to kind of alleviate performance?
So there are a lot of enhancements on Project Online. First of all, like it's using like much higher end data centers, and it changes according to your needs. So if you're looking for like a little bit more load, it gives us more horsepower and gets the. It's anyway like moved from like 2010 to 2013. There have been a lot of performance enhancements. And part of being on cloud, Microsoft continuously looks at the performance issues that now they have the data, they can gather it. So there are millions of users who are on Project Online and on cloud. And they capture that information, they go through that information, and periodically you'll see like the performance updates coming in.
And there's a web page that we can refer you to that kind of talks about all of the different performance actions that they've taken.
Right, and a lot of it is actually on the roadmap too. So if you go into the roadmap for Office and look at the performance things, you can take a look at it. But they have the data, it's been continuously improved, and the website tells you which page has been improved, what performance has updated, and it's much faster than before.
Only one way to tell. Sign
Use
up.
it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.